So, welcome everybody. We're going to be busy for about 50 minutes. We're going to talk about digital media budget allocation for positive ROI. It's a nice long title. Just quick intro. My name is Ferdy Bester. I've got 19 years digital experience. Google Analytics certified. I've done a few AI courses just to sort of make sure that I don't, I'm well versed in terms of how machine learning works in AI, and we work with some really nice clients. So on the agenda today is we're going to talk about the latest from Google Ads, Meta, TikTok, and X. Then I'm going to talk about attribution models and KPIs for each channel, which I think is quite useful. We're going to talk about target audiences, and then lastly, we're going to talk about media spend optimization techniques. So this should give you a fairly good overview of what the channels offer, how you need to measure them, what's working or not. So you should have a fairly decent idea of the landscape in terms of digital marketing, digital media ROI after the session. The session is recorded. We'll send it out to everybody afterwards. All right, let's get into it. So please, if you have questions, luckily we don't have a lot of people on the call. This is specifically designed this way. So stop and ask a question, or just type in the comments on the right-hand side, and then I will read it. Also, I always stop for questions or clarity, and I ask, does it make sense? Just leave an emoji then, so that we know that people are still awake. Okay, so let's talk about digital media updates. Firstly, Google Ads. So the big thing Google is pushing is Pmax at the moment. So everybody assume knows what it is, but you load an ad into Google, and it will go and serve it onto YouTube, Display, Search, Discover, Gmail, and Maps. So I think it was designed to make it easier for advertisers, obviously, to reach these other platforms. But I also think it was Google struggling to sell some of this inventory, so it decided to make it easier for advertisers to go and do this. It's got good and bad things about it. I'm frankly not a big fan of it, even though I love AI and machine learning. So the trick with it is you need absolutely solid conversion tracking. So if you don't have conversion tracking, or it's a bit flaky, Pmax will not work. So Pmax goes and finds clients for you, but in order for it to do that, you need to send the data in terms of if it's working or not. So our media buyers have seen decent results targeting B2C consumers and the e-commerce space, and the reason for that is there's lots of data. Like there's lots of conversions happening, there's leads, there's sales information, there's even revenue numbers. So it works for this. It is absolutely not effective for B2B. We haven't seen a successful campaign. And the reason for that is in B2B marketing, maybe you get 2 leads a month, maybe you get 5 leads a month. It's not enough data to actually it's not enough data to train the machine learning model in Google. Google will allow you to set up the campaign, but this campaign is going to learn for the next 6 months because it just doesn't have the data. So I don't think it's an option for B2B clients, or any client that doesn't have a lot of transactions or conversions. So it doesn't have the feedback data to work. The other thing that's happening in Google Ads that we're seeing, Pippa and Norman, you would definitely have seen this, is I'm seriously concerned about the amount of display spam that's out there. Now, display spam is people being forced to either watch videos or to just look at banners. So, for example, here we were running a remarketing campaign inside our account. I'm sharing some of our account details because it's our data, so I can share it. So these were the websites where some of our ads were showing, and there was this website called howkan.mobi that's getting a lot of impressions and it's taking our money. And then when you go to the actual site, it's like this weird, I don't know, like spammy social website. That's just, I don't know how they use bots to generate the or geolocation cloaking so that our banners are shown on their website, even though our audience is not there. So be very careful that this is playing out in this space. And you'll also see when you'll see that there's a lot of mobile apps showing up where the ads are being shown, and Google has made it very difficult to actually go and exclude those. They're going to argue with that, and that's fine. I just think that it's been made quite difficult to exclude this. And the problem that I have with this is the publishers are incentivized for this to happen, and Google is like, oh, we're making money out of this, so it sort of looks the other way. So I think it's up to advertisers and agency partners to monitor this and to stop this. So here's a really good example is we went to Spain last year, and if you type in Barcelona airport, there's this website that pops up, Barcelona airport. So you go, okay, I'm in English, I'm gonna click on that because it's ranked #1, and it's actually an affiliate website. It's not the official Barcelona airport. So you go into this website that looks official, but then when you go and want to try and find information, you click on terminals. Of course, obviously, if you fly from Barcelona, you want to see which terminal you're flying on. You click on terminal, and then this ad pops up. So it's got this ad that's very difficult to understand what to do next. So do you close the ad, or do you click open because you clicked there to go to the terminal page? So if you click open, does it open up the terminal page, or does it open up the advertiser? So this is the game that's happening at the moment online, and I think it's really unfortunate. So that's what's playing out in Google in terms of spam. The other thing we're seeing is exact match keywords is sort of a thing of the past. So I'll give you a practical example. It's still there, but I don't think it's not as powerful as it used to be. So we would advertise for digital media advertising agency on exact match, and then what would happen is we would get served for digital agency and digital agencies and digital marketing agencies. In terms of B2B positioning, there's a big difference between a digital media advertising agency and a digital agency. This is a full service thing, and that is very niche. The problem is that Google then will serve your ad to all these other keywords. So this is why Pippa raised earlier that there's a lot of people moving budgets away from Google. This is one of the reasons why we move my budget away from Google, is because the audience that we want to target this keyword, and then we get served with all these other keywords. And then Google's like, no, but we know best. Our machines will learn to serve the person with the right intent, and our targeting is unbelievable. I'm like, and I don't, on one level, they have a point if you're a consumer brand, but I don't need Google to go and spend 10,000 Rand to learn that digital agency is not where we want to show our ads. And I have a big problem with that. So especially if the CPCs get really high, like our CPCs are about 100 Rand a click, 150 Rand a click, and so that's wasted money. Okay, any questions on Google Ads?
No question, but we've got an interesting comment from Pippa. Pippa, do you want to raise it?
Yeah, sure. And I just flagged in the chat box that I found that for in-app advertising specifically, it's better to go through a direct buy and just avoid Google Ads completely. So for like my campaigns, I turn off the option to advertise in-app, but I find they still do if you're using display, and rather go through somebody that can do a direct buy for in-app ads.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of display at the moment in Google. Yeah, it's not great. Anyway, okay, so we can go into the whole philosophy, debate this and everything, but this is sort of what we're seeing. So I don't really want to go into the debate about it, but let's move on to the other platforms. So Meta had the annual results 2 days ago, and they are absolutely shooting the lights out. So they grew their revenue by 10%, 15% in 1 quarter. They are absolutely killing it. And the daily active numbers are looking really good. They own WhatsApp, which gives them a lot of data. So we are seeing, like, a lot of the campaigns that we run, like Facebook and Meta is performing incredibly well. And some of the changes that we've seen is they've moved out of news and politics. So there's a lot of less stuff around that. They've invested heavily in terms of machine learning and AI to assist with the targeting and measurement. So for example, they don't know if somebody converts on Apple anymore, but they extrapolate the data using some really smart modeling. And then they've, in terms of KPI, I think that's also helped them a lot with tracking. So they are just like firing on all cylinders. And from a media buyer perspective, the feedback I'm getting is really good performance. And what's interesting is it's not just for brand building, it's actually to drive performance itself. So it's become a very good lead generator. So yeah, Meta is doing very well. So like in budget split at the moment, some of our campaigns, we're spending more money on Meta than on Google at the moment because of the cost per click is so high in search, and because of all the spam that sits in the display network. Any comments? Yeah.
Yes, Elise is asking, are those numbers across all media, all Meta platforms?
Yes, yeah. So that's across Meta as an aggregate. So that's Facebook and Instagram.
Cool.
All right. Any other questions?
It looks clear.
Oh, cool. All right. TikTok. So I haven't run campaigns in TikTok. Some of our media buyers has, but Pippa, I got these slides from you. Thank you. I didn't know how you managed to get them out because I don't like sharing numbers, but the growth has been incredible. So last year, or 2002, they had 7 million people on TikTok. Now it's 13 million people on TikTok. So it is just incredible growth. And what was very interesting, it's weird, I'm 44, and if I ask my friends if they're on TikTok, all of them say no. So they all get TikTok videos on Instagram 4 days later. But when TikTok shared their age data, and they said like about 28% of the people are actually older than 35. So that is economically active group of people, which is quite interesting. The feedback we've received is creative that looks user generated gets more traction than just really slick production videos. And one of the things we have seen is, for example, for King Prices, they've created these nice organic, sort of viral videos. But if you look at the numbers, these things don't get a lot of traction. So I think it's a little bit of a crapshoot if your video is going to go viral or not. But you can always put money behind it, so to make sure that people do see it. So boosting it does make sense. And then the one thing I had a really interesting debate about, especially for financial service providers, is you want lead volume, but you definitely want quality. So, and the danger with TikTok is there's incredible volume, but it could be very low quality. So usually we say to clients, make it as frictionless as possible to complete the lead process or the sale process. But in terms of TikTok, we actually recommend you to just be careful, throttle the budgets, or put a bit of friction into the process. So Pippa made a good point last week, where she said, I recommended going out of TikTok when you make show a lead form to a client. She said, keep it inside TikTok, but just add more questions. And especially if it pre-populates your email and your name, it's a little bit too easy to submit your details. Okay. Any questions on TikTok?
Yes, we've got one from Clarissa. What is your opinion on TikTok in B2B space?
That's a great question. I don't have any data on it. So as a business, we are actually exploring. I think there's a huge movement towards short form video. So we've seen data on our website that people just don't read the text. They just, the moment there's more than 2 paragraphs, they don't like, oh, I'm too lazy, and they move on. And we've seen really good traction on YouTube. So I can't comment on if TikTok is the right platform. What we are experiencing is short form video that is being consumed, and our target audience is on YouTube. So we are investing as we speak in building out how-to videos on YouTube. So, for example, a lot of the previous webinars that we've had is available on YouTube. I think the question is your target audience on TikTok? I'm not sure in which industry you're in, but I think they may be using short form video, but then the next question is which platform. I don't think our audience is on TikTok yet, so we are gonna invest first in YouTube. Sorry, somebody else a question?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to, I was researching it about 2 weeks ago, and it's the same mentality as you would with the consumer brand. Is your audience there and what is your offering? So corporate clothing can work very well on TikTok, but because fashion tends to appeal. And content creators, in terms of if you're a graphic designer or video creator, you can use TikTok for B2B. But trying to sell, for instance, a finance service, such as, you know, a bookkeeping or auditing firm being on TikTok, unless you're using it for recruitment purposes, it doesn't really work. If that makes sense.
Okay, I hope that answers the question. Cool. Twitter, or X, I'm not sure if any. Yes.
Sorry, it's my natural reflex when I see Twitter.
Oh, yeah. So Twitter or X at the moment is an absolute cesspool. I don't know if any of you have been on it recently, but it is just shocking, the stuff that's in there. So like if you value your brand, I wouldn't go onto X at the moment. It is really horrendous. So I just wanna skip that. So just coming. So the last thing I didn't enter into the deck was YouTube. I think YouTube is still underserviced by advertisers in South Africa. It's bigger than Netflix, and the cost per view is about between 50 cents and R1. So if you want an alternative channel, YouTube is quite interesting, and you can run it through Google Ads with some good audience targeting. Obviously, you need then the video ad assets, which can be quite a hurdle. Okay, let's talk about attribution. So with Google and Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn and all these different channels, one of the things that we've grappled with for a few years is how do you measure them? Because if you advertise on TikTok, somebody may not be in the mood to actually complete a lead form, or somebody watching a YouTube video on the television is not going to be in the position to actually complete the lead form. So how do you measure the success of a channel? So we've taken, we've developed this approach, which we think is interesting. So the traditional marketing funnel is people enter in at the top, and then magically using gravity, they fall out at the bottom, and then you get clients. And we think that's disingenuous, because gravity doesn't just, clients just don't magically pop out at the bottom. Like it's almost like if you do nothing, they will filter through. So the model that we like more is when you turn it upside down and people enter in at the bottom, and it takes an enormous amount of energy to move them through this process until they become a customer. So in terms of the stages, there's many different descriptions that people use. For this instance, we just say people enter in at the bottom. There's an awareness phase, there's a consideration phase, evaluation, contact, and then there's a lead or sale. This is not new. What is interesting is what we've tried to do is just to position the media channels based on where the person is in the funnel. So if the sale happens here at the top, or the lead, to create awareness or create demand, the channels that's good with that is, for example, YouTube or display or TikTok or Twitter, if you're really brave and you want to go there. In the consideration phases, this is when people start searching for things. So Google search, Facebook, SEO. In the evaluation phase is they've been to competitors, so they're coming back to you. So this is where email comes into play. They may even use ChatGPT for some research, remarketing, and then lastly, they convert. So that's the website, WhatsApp business, or Google search, your brand especially. So this is sort of where we position the media channels. But to assign KPIs to them, this is the model that we like. So when advertising on YouTube, you don't expect to get the sale. Like, you're not going to get the sale because the person is not ready to talk to you or even engage with you. It's purely an awareness point at that stage. So and the same goes for a display ad, the same goes for TikTok, the same goes for Twitter. So we think a more appropriate KPI would be to say the job of the YouTube ad is just to get the click, because that means that somebody has interfaced with the ad. So you can either track the clicks, or you can track, very importantly, the viewable impression, not the impression. Viewable impression is somebody actually saw the ad, it served on their screen for 3 seconds, and didn't just load at the bottom. So when running these campaigns, that could be an interesting KPI. Then if you move up, if you go to Google search ads, usually people would search car insurance, and they may convert, but more likely they're going to convert a little bit later when they go and search your brand later. So at this stage, so Google search ad, Facebook ads, and SEO, the KPI to be considered is an engaged visitor. Now, Google Analytics 4 has got a good metric in there that'll assess if somebody is engaged. An engaged visitor is somebody that spent a bit of time on your website. And then the next phase is like email remarketing. It's still an engaged visitor. It could be a longer time that they spend on the site, could be a KPI. And people only convert later on. So, for example, most of the conversions that you'll see in Google Ads is from your brand. That's where the conversion happens. It's because they've gone through this entire process, and then at the end they search your brand. So you'll also see like your SEO traffic will deliver, or direct, like as one of the sources, because people have gone through the funnel and they've gone through all of this stuff. So everything contributed, and then right at the end, they just type in your website, www.zestlife.com, and it says direct. So a way to make sense of this very confusing landscape is to try and just choose a relevant KPI for each one of these media channels. Some of this will be different for you. So, for example, TikTok could also sit there. It could also sit there. So this is very much dependent on your business. Any questions?
No, getting thumbs ups.
No. Okay, cool. Next thing to talk about is audiences, target audiences. So going back to the funnel, and who cares about audiences, is this the initial phase of getting people into this buying process, the awareness phase. The audience that you target is quite important, because if you target an audience that's not interested in your services, you are sort of wasting money. So for NightJarr to go and put a billboard up next to the highway, it's not going to reach our target audience, because it's like that's a way better position for a car insurance company, for example, because everybody driving past it is in a car. So audiences help you, and the technology in the interfaces helps you to just target and be efficient in terms of this, and effective in terms of the awareness phase. So and the audience technology is quite good. So you can have all the people in South Africa, and you can very specifically target the people that you want to talk to. So, for example, we like talking to marketing people. So the technology will help you to identify and just show ads to them. So in terms of the audience technology available in Google Ads and YouTube, is the ones that we like is the in-market audiences that fit inside Google Ads is quite powerful. So you can search what they call in-market. So this is somebody that is actively researching or planning to buy something. So this could be financial services, this could be banking, this could be travel. So there's many different ones. So just as an example, the audiences that we look at is advertising and marketing services, and then SEO and SEM services. So in your industry, there should be one or two of these audiences of people searching. And the reason why Google knows this and have these audiences is, if you look at the landscape, they know who is searching to travel to Italy next year because you've typed it into Google. That's the information that you gave Google. The second one that we like is that works very well is customer lists. So Google is and I'll talk about customer lists in the other platforms now. What it is you have a collection of customer data in your CRM system. Lots of financial service providers use Microsoft Dynamics. It could be HubSpot, it could be Zoho. What you then do is you take the name, email, telephone number, and around 3,000 of these customers, and you upload it into Google Ads or Google Analytics 4. And what it'll do is it'll create a list, a customer list, so that you can go in and just show ads to them, or to go and find more of this kind of audiences. So this is how customer lists work in Google. So Google is very concerned about data privacy and antitrust at the moment. So it's definitely the most restrictive of all the platforms in terms of doing this stuff, but it can work. There are minimums. So, for example, if you want to serve ads to these people, you can serve them in search or YouTube, display, or Gmail. So there's certain minimum sizes that you need to adhere to, which is quite important. Hence why we think at least 3,000 is important. Facebook or Meta, its customer list technology is incredible. So you need to give it first name, surname, email address, and at least 500, and then you can go and build an audience on this and target. So you can target your customers with upselling opportunities, like let's say gap cover, and you can go and do dental care, or you can build a lookalike audience. So it'll go and find more of these really valuable customers for you. So Facebook advertising is quite powerful and works quite well in this regard. The list size we recommend is starting at about 500. Luckily, when you do upload the data, it hashes it before Facebook actually receives it. So there's encryption. Then lastly, TikTok. I don't have experience in this, but I've heard it works quite well. So the minimum size of the source audience is also 100. Because I think the demographic is younger here, you need at least 500, because if you upload 500, it needs to go and match it against what you already have in what they have in their interface. So we think at least 500 is what's needed. And then you can just go and show your ads to people on TikTok. Okay, any questions around this?
Looks good.
No questions. Okay, then quick ad break. We've got a performance review offer available. So if you want us to have a look at your Google Ads or your Google Analytics, and you will receive 3 strategies on how to improve your Google Ads, or 3 opportunities to improve your overall marketing. We've got 2 options for that. The first one is a free option, but then you're going to share the session with 2 other companies. So it's going to be, you can share your data, but it's a little bit sensitive. You're going to share the time with these other companies. Or if you want a private session where we look at your Google Ads, Google Analytics, and give you some really good opportunities, we charge a fee for that. So if you're interested in that, just have a look. Danae, will you please just share a link in the chat box? And just, if you're interested, just submit your details. Cool. Then let's talk about media spend optimization techniques. So if you want to, so this was very theoretical, but this stuff gets a little bit more practical in terms of if you are running media campaigns and you want to optimize them, just improve the ROI a little bit. So the first thing to talk about is the budget waterfall. So we spoke about the process of these specific platforms sitting in specific places. In terms of the buying process, people enter in near the bottom. So the awareness is YouTube, display advertising, TikTok, and then they move upwards. Advertisers don't have unlimited budgets. So one of the things that we found works, especially with limited budgets, is there's a what we call like a waterfall approach in terms of investing in the platforms. So investing in a platform there's obviously the media cost itself, but there's also production and creative costs and media buying costs associated with advertising on each one of these channels. So so the approach is the first place to spend money, in our opinion, is the stuff right at the top of the funnel. So at the very least, make sure you have an incredible website, that's usable website, because it makes a huge impact on your conversion rate and people actually knowing what you do. So that's a really good place to invest in the UX. And then at the very least, just make sure that if they do a search on Google, that they find you. This may be an ad, this may be Google Maps, but just make sure that it's easy for people to find it. Once you've done this and this is working, then you can go on to the next phase. Is how do you service people that's a little bit further, further in the process, or a little bit higher up. The base channel, no, this is so old school, is email. Is before you actually run Google Ads campaigns, is make sure you have an email list. You probably have lots of old customers that's bought from you already, proven. Make sure you have a solid email system to contact them. The production, there's a slight production and software cost there, but you don't actually pay for the media. There's no cost in terms of emailing 2,000 people, apart from paying the marketing person to come up with a message and the email. So this is an incredible return on investment, this email. So have a look at that. I know it's so old school, it's not sexy anymore, but email still works. The remarketing is also quite cost effective, because when people have been on your website, this follows them around, and it's not an expensive thing to do to get them back to your website. And once this is done, this level's done, then the next budget falls in here. It could be Google search ads, it could be Facebook ads, it could be SEO. So these, and then do one properly before moving on to the other one. We think in the long run, SEO is way better value for money, because you get people clicking on your listing without you having to pay for it. There is SEO production cost involved, but this is a very good long-term investment. But if you're new and you need immediate traction, Google search ads is still an option. And then Facebook ads is also an option. So, considering today's discussion around, if we focus on financial services, I think a year ago we would definitely say this, and it's still like a very solid option. But Facebook ads is becoming really, so usually it was like 70% Google, 30% Facebook, and it's definitely moved very much closer to one another. And then once your budget is filled out there, and you get 100% impression share, you're getting leads through, everything is working well, and you go, okay, so how do we create more awareness? How do we create more demand? How do we get more people to search for our brand? Then you invest in the softer channels like YouTube or display advertising or TikTok. So this is a good guideline in terms of investing money in the different channels. Any comments or questions or shared learnings? Nope.
Nope.
Papa, anything to add?
I think it's really difficult, because like some of my clients, which are like, they attack both B2C and B2B, they need to invest more on the awareness side than on the contact side, because they focus on education.
Yeah.
So you've got to break it down to what are your 4 core objectives. It's promotion, education, inspire, and entertain. So where are you on the scale? And based on that, you split the budget accordingly.
Yeah, it also becomes complicated if the product is not known, or it's a new venture, and it's just something people don't know about. So people can't search for something that they don't know about. So the moment that's in play, like Google Ads search is not going to work for you. SEO is not going to work for you because frankly, people are not looking for it. So you need to go and find those clients using Facebook ads, or maybe even making them aware of it. Another instance could play out is maybe like you just don't have an email database and it's never been possible. And so obviously it's circumstantial, but this is just like a broad approach for most D2C companies.
A nice workaround I found for the email is your LinkedIn newsletter. Because more and more people are moving away from subscribing to emails, because I don't know if your inbox looks like mine, but every morning there's like 30 newsletters that greet me. I found that with the LinkedIn newsletters, you don't necessarily need people to give you, to subscribe to a newsletter, because if they're following you on LinkedIn, they will get the alert that you have a newsletter available for them to read. So if they don't know about it, they can still have access to it.
Good tip, like it. Right. Let's,
Sorry, we also have a question from Natasha. Am I correct in saying email would be mainly used for cross-selling to existing clients?
Yes, yes, for new clients, absolutely. You can do selling there. Or cross-selling or upselling if there's an opportunity for that, yes. The email, so I'll explain in the context of what we do. Our email works is we have a community of people that's just interested in learning about this stuff. So it's not our customer list. So we use email for people that's engaged with us through these events, for example. So Elise, in your instance, the email, let's say you want to target a little bit. You want to target people that's not clients anymore. Like what can you offer people in exchange for their email addresses? And people won't just give it to you. So in terms of like your space, it could be, I don't know, tips on how to save on medical expenses, tips on how to manage your medical aid. Maybe there's some content that people are interested in and they're willing to share their email addresses. So then you get a collection of email addresses of prospective clients and not current clients. So it is situational. I hope that helps. Okay, should we continue?
Thanks.
Right. So let's go back to more spend optimization stuff. So I want to circle back to display spam. It's a real ecosystem at the moment. So go and have a look at this. So the place that you go to see where your ads are actually being shown is inside Google Ads. So we still have the old interface, but if you go to Insights and Reports, there is a report called Where and When Ads Were Shown. And just go and click on that to actually see where your ads are being shown. It is going to be illuminating for you. And it's a really easy way to just improve the ROI of your campaigns if you just go and exclude them. If you get stuck, just email me or one of the team members to show you where to do this. So that's the first thing. So display spam is you can save on your media budgets quite quickly just by excluding those. The second one is viewable impressions. So the difference between the two is when the ad is actually shown, and I think it's 3 seconds. If it's rendered and it's actually shown on the screen, that is considered a viewable impression. And a normal impression is it was loaded, but it sits outside of the viewing screen. So when you are doing display campaigns, just make sure that A, it's being measured, and B, that you are paying for viewable impressions and not just impressions. So Google Ads, ironically, is okay with that because it gives you that information. So I'll give you just one little table to just explain this. So these are some of the placements where our ads are being shown, and these are this column is viewable impressions, and this column is normal impressions. So here there's a website here called Mariah.com. I don't know. So our ad was served 3,700 times on that site, but only 14 of those impressions were actually viewable by users. So it means that if we were, luckily we're not paying on impression, we're paying on viewable impression. But if we were paying for impressions, we would have paid this money. And ironically, only 14 of those impressions were viewable by somebody. So this is quite important, especially if you go directly to News 24 or to Daily Maverick, and you say, I want to buy some impressions, make sure that they're viewable. Like this Yahoo as well, there's 10,000 impressions, but only 4,000 viewable impressions. So just make sure of that. Any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. So the third thing is SEO. So SEO, so this graph, I was playing around with ChatGPT to go and generate this. What this graph basically tries to illustrate is your paid ads. So the ads that you show in Google Ads will, so Google will take your money every single month. It's you allocate money, you get leads immediately, and it's almost like we become addicted to it. So you give Google money, it gives you leads immediately, which is amazing. And I think it's really good to build trust. So if you're a new marketing person and your KPI is to deliver leads, boom, like these leads. But in the long run, to save money, investing in SEO is a really good idea, because you do spend money on SEO, the production cost, and to fix certain things. But in the long run, at the end of the day, you don't pay for the click. And so at some point, you're actually in a position where you can stop Google Ads and not pay that amount every month. So in the long run, it's a very, very cost-effective channel to invest in. So that's cool. And then lastly, another way to, and I know this isn't media technically, but this is an incredible lever for you to deliver an effective cost per lead or cost per sale. So if you look at how this process folds out, so you've got the impression. So this is where your ad is being shown. This is, you are in an auction for this. So Google or digital marketing agencies, the cost per click is, the cost per impression is set. So there's a certain cost to show your ad. The next phase is to actually get the click. So it's called the click-through rate. So if you have great creative, that impression will generate the click. So it means that the cost per click will then go down if you have really good creative. The problem at the moment is, especially in search, is everybody has the same ad, because everybody's using the dynamic search ad. So you give it some headlines, you give it some descriptions, and then Google will magically go and create the ad. So I think over time, all the ads will look the same, because it's serving the best ad. So creative has got some impact on your cost per click, but it's being eroded, especially in search. It still does have a big impact on Facebook. Any case, so you are a impression cost taker. You can't control this. You have a little bit of control there. You have no control over your CPC really, because it's actually set there. And then what happens is there's a conversion rate. So the amount of people that has clicked on your ad that actually turn into a lead. So this conversion rate is where the focus, and it's an incredible lever to improve your cost per lead, because you are in full control of the conversion rate. And the conversion rate is your website and the page that the person lands on after clicking on your ad. And if you make it incredibly easy to convert into a lead or to sign up, your conversion rate will go up. And as your conversion rate goes up, your cost per lead will go down. So this, to invest money here, will make all your media campaigns look incredible. A couple of, at my previous agency, we were running campaigns for a client, and it was doing quite well, but the conversion rate was 3%. And so we would, let's say, get a cost per lead of 100 Rand. So we managed to get the conversion rate up to 12% because we built this incredible landing page. It was just easy to use and it had all the information. So if you take 12% and you divide it by 2%, it's like a factor of 6 improvement. So the cost per lead then went from 100 Rand to like 18 Rand because we got so many more people to actually convert to it. So, and I know you're a media buyer, or you like media buying is the thing that you're responsible for. But at the end of the day, as a media buyer, the cost per lead is incredibly important for most companies, or the cost per sale. And this is where an enormous amount of effort can produce incredible results. Okay. Any questions?
Quiet.
I don't have any more slides. This is the Q&A section of the session. So,
Fadi, thank you for that. That was awesome, and it's given me a lot to think about. Just in terms of SEO, of course, very interesting subject. And I know it's a little bit of an unknown, but the search engine optimization for